Today, we're breaking down the coolest games shown off at Microsoft's Partner Showcase, the ones you actually need to know about. Plus, the reviews are in for Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Is this a true return to form or just more of the same? And we're reacting to this year's Game Awards nominees. Did they get it right or did some major snubs steal the spotlight? Stick around for all that and more. Welcome, friends, to Good Playing With You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my dreamy duo of Matts, Matt Lord.
Ooh. Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Moulding.
Hey now, dreamy or a nightmare? I think a nightmare is a little bit better.
We're a sweet duo.
Sometimes you go either way, I tell you that much. Before we hit the headlines, though, we're only 159 subs away from our goal, so if you're watching on YouTube, please like and hit that subscribe button. All right, with that out of the way, gentlemen, let's jump into the headlines of the week. All right, first up, we have to talk about that Xbox Partner Showcase this week. I want to hear what you guys think. It was a pretty interesting lineup, a bunch of cool indies, some surprising reveals, and 2 shadow drops, which is always good. So real quickly, let's talk about the highlights of the show, and I want to get your reactions. First up, Armatus. It opened up the show. It's a third-person roguelite shooter from Counterplay Games, the Godfall devs, set in a demon-infested, ruined Paris where you play a supernatural warrior using guns and celestial powers to fight through the city and hunt for the Sunless Gate. It kind of looked like Doom meets Remnant 2. It releases in 2026 with no firm date, and it will be a day one Game Pass. What did you guys think?
This one I liked a lot. I thought it looked really cool. Roguelite, I mean, yeah, I think I could have done without that element, but I gotta say the action looked really flashy. I love third-person gunplay battles, and I did like how futuristic and sleek and everything looked, and some of the takedowns with the scythes looked awesome. My call is they're definitely going to have like a Samus twist at the end of this. It's going to be like, you know, credits roll, and then it's going to be a woman underneath the armor and maybe in like a bikini, like throwback to the SNES days. You never know. That could be a little wild, but I thought it looked great. I thought this one honestly looked pretty cool. It was a really strong way to start the show. And yeah, this is something I'll be keeping my eyes out for.
I'd love that twist. I think that'd be so fun.
I agree.
Yeah, it looked great. I like the mix of the guns with the magic. I think that's super fun. It looked quick. It looked flashy. I was into it. It did seem, we might talk about a few of the others, but there were at least like 3 or 4 of these games had that like gunplay mixed with like magic or mixed with demons. Like that seemed to be a common theme with a few of the games in this showcase. But yeah, I'm here for it. I think it looked fun. I don't know that I would be running out to purchase it for $70 though.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. I was like, man, good thing this is on Game Pass because there's no way I'm paying $70. In fact, I don't think it is going to be. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be $50 or something like that because it didn't look like a $70 game to me. For me, it looked fine. It didn't quite scratch that itch of exactly what I was looking for. But the fact that it's going to be on Game Pass, sure, I'll give it a shot. But this one didn't really like get me very excited. It didn't, do that thing with my brain. So I don't know.
Now, that's if your Game Pass subscription is still running by the time this game comes out.
Great point. And it was set in Paris, right? That seems to be
that's another big game
going right now.
Yeah.
All right, second up, 007 First Light, a first-person spy action adventure set in the James Bond universe, focusing on stealth, gadgets, cinematic missions. I shouldn't really even have to describe this because I think everybody saw it when it was at the Sony PlayStation Partner Showcase. This emphasized, though, definitely more of the Aston Martin. What did you guys think?
Yeah, this was just an advertising for Aston Martin. Like I don't even remember seeing any gameplay. I just had Aston Martin sitting on my face that whole time, and so I don't know what else to say. Other than sure, like a good Aston Martin commercial. Yeah. Okay,
I had to look it up. I guess this is like a real car, which is funny, but I was just like, are they trying to like promote an Aston Martin to gamers? Like, I don't think very many gamers out there are going to be rushing to
Well, wait a minute. The Aston Martin's a real car brand, but are you saying that car in the game is a real car?
Yeah, the specific
like the
Valhalla
brand or model,
the Valhalla car, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's almost like it was branding. I mean, I did think it looked cool. I mean, it showcased some of the guns and stuff that you can expect from that vehicle, and I thought it was cool. But yeah, I mean, wow, what a like interesting like ad placement.
Yeah, I agree. This was a horrible trailer, but it did what it needed to do. I guarantee you guys, what happened was Xbox was like, oh man, PlayStation is being associated with 007 because they showed it off first and everyone is putting the two together. But we got to let people know that 007 is going to be on the Xbox too. So they call up and they're like, hi, James Bond people, can you please put a trailer on our showcase? And they're like, oh, shit, we don't have a new trailer for you. We're busy making the damn game. And so they're like, we'll take anything. They scraped this off the bottom of the barrel. They probably made this.
Impressions. Excellent impressions. I think that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, they made this trailer actually for the Aston Martin people to try and sell them and get them in the game. That's what it was. This is a showpiece and a marketing piece for Aston Martin. And they're just like, oh, yeah, here, you can have this Xbox. And they're like, great, thank you so much. And then they saw it and they're like, well, what I got to do, we got to do. And it did the trick. Look, they wanted this associated with their platform. It did the trick. Was it pretty? No. But can we play 007 on Xbox? Yes. And that's very clear now. It's coming,
and we're going to play it on Game Pass, right? Because all of these games are Game Pass games. No,
nope.
Oh,
they're not.
Oh, okay.
So I'll clear that up each one we go through because that was a little bit confusing in the show, and I'll explain a little bit more later. But this one is not Game Pass, and it does have a firm date of March 27th, 2026. So it is right around the corner. It will be on PlayStation as well. So interesting.
Yeah. No, it's good to know. You know, I totally, I don't blame them for wanting to do that. I mean, yes, you're right. They're like, they totally scraped the bottom of the barrel, but hey, like they had to get it because I honestly, I wasn't sure actually until now. I don't think I really realized, or it was very not in the forefront of my brain that it was coming to Xbox.
Agreed. Same. Okay, next up was Roadside Research. Now, this is a co-op aliens game where you guys run, like between 1 to 4 players, where you run a gas station because you are researching humans on the sly and you can't let them know or else men in black will show up and shoot you and kill you and then it's game over. So when you and your buddies have to be undercover aliens, and it sounds like crazy fun. It releases in 2026 and this one will be a day one Game Pass. I thought it was silly fun. What'd you guys think?
I must have skipped past it. I must have saw what it looked like and just been like, no, I'm not interested in this one. I'm guessing, was it kind of like an indie looking game with kind of like indie graphics? Because I don't remember. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I skipped past it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is to me very reminiscent of the Lethal Company hype that was going on. I think I mentioned where you're just kind of like 4-player co-op running around. Lots of silly stuff going on. Like maybe there's prox chat in there where you can just really amplify the silliness. These can be really fun, but my only criticism is I feel like they burn themselves out really fast. Like they'll be popular for like a month and then they're gone.
I agree 100%. That's what I was going to say here is like, look, I had to throw this one on the list because all the other ones really are great and beautiful. And this one is a stupid little fun one. And I think one night the 3 of us should get together and get on this thing and play it one time just to try it out when it hits Game Pass and then we can bounce. Provided we have Game Pass.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to other games on the show, Total Chaos. Now, this one was the Shadow Drop, first-person psychological survival horror from the creator of Turbo Overkill. You scavenge, craft makeshift weapons, and fight or avoid grotesque creatures in a decaying, oppressive world. This one actually struck me as more like Silent Hill meets Doom, and it is on Game Pass. What did you guys think?
So my initial reaction to this game when I was seeing the shooting and stuff, I was like, this game looks really, really cool. And the shooting might need a little bit of work, but they'll probably have, they'll have like 6 months to clear that up or whenever it's going to drop. And I'm like, it's Shadow Drops. So that was the one thing that I was like, I think, and which is fine. Like we got a Shadow Drop. That's the only thing we can really hope for these showcases, which is so cool. And to be honest, I loved the setting. It looked really pretty chilling. There was some really cool imagery with the people popping out of the walls, the huge face then reaching through the corridor. I thought it looked awesome. Like, this is the type of horror game that I'd be totally interested in and would be like, maybe I need to, get some Crunchy Cortex Game Pass going, because this was a Game Pass.
Yes.
Yeah. Boom. So yeah, I thought this was a really cool, surprising horror game to announce at random, pretty much.
I don't care about horror games. I talk about it all the time that I don't care about them, but I do love a shadow drop. So that totally gets it in my mind, even though I don't want to play it and I have no desire to download it, to do anything with it. I just love the fact that they're like, hey, this game, love it. You can get it right now. That just does it for me.
Agreed. And it does it for me too, because when I saw this, I was like, yes. When the show first opened, it had that Armatus game, and I was just like, I don't understand this fantasy setting. That's too molding for me. I want real horror. And that's exactly what this was. It looked almost like that, a first-person shooter, but in Silent Hill. And I'm like, hell yes, I'm totally into this. I can't wait to get my hands on it. It's definitely what I'm going to be playing this weekend. Look, is this a $70 game? Again, I don't think any of the games shown in the showcase were $70 games. But who can say no to a shadow drop? So I'm fucking pumped.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And one other note, when they first showed it too, I thought it was going to be a showcase of that Ill game, because it kind of had a little bit of that. Remember, I was like, okay, this is really cool. Maybe this is what we're seeing here. But what I did like is they did a cool thing in the game that they had like a 2-punch type of attack situation. They had like, you like threw the pickaxe, it like split open the enemies, then you had to shoot them. I love that sort of like more than just like shooting. You have to like do a couple step process to make shooting enemies a little bit more of a challenge. I thought that was awesome.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it, and I'll definitely report back. All right, next up, an interesting one. This one was Zoopunk. It's a colorful roguelite brawler starring cyberpunk animals battling through neon cityscapes. Gameplay focused on quick combos, upgrades, and randomized runs, and it is going to be on Game Pass. What did you guys think?
So earlier today, before I got a chance to look at the whole show, I saw someone posting a little bit of this on Twitter. I'm like, I was just angry, immediately angry about seeing this stupid little bunny looking thing being a fighter. But then I watched it and I fell in love with it. I'm so there for it. I think it looks so much fun. I cannot wait to see like the different varieties of animals and like what their attitude is and like what weapons they have. I think the combos looked really fun. I loved that you were fighting that like elk thing. It looked cool. I'm telling you, I loved everything about it.
Are you fucking with me?
No, I'm not. I'm not fucking with you at all. I thought it looked so much fun.
You are totally bullshitting me.
No, I'm not at all. This is totally the truth.
Yeah, this is the first time where I may have to just disagree here, because I
think it looks so fun.
The bunny situation, I feel like a lot of these games I need to be able to relate to these characters, and I don't feel like I'm gonna get that with like a zoo of, and it looks like a AAA game. Like, I will give it that. It looked really nice. That whoever cut the trailer did a bang up job.
Graphics look great.
Graphics look great. But then I'm like, it's a damn bunny that we're playing as the whole time. I don't know if I'm in it. I don't know.
For it. I'm there for it. I'm living for it.
No, you're a fucking closet furry. Just come out of the closet. No, you're a closet furry.
I know it. I respect the furries, but no.
I agree. But I'm just saying, admit it. It's fine. We'll still love you, brother.
No. I think
wait, we're respecting furries around here? No, okay.
Of course.
Yeah, we're pro horny. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like all the kinks.
It's such a weird, concept. They're like, all right, we want this bunny ninja, and it's going to just be doing badass stuff. Like, it just seems like such an off the wall concept. But this is a game that initially I'm a little hesitant, but maybe if it drops and it's great, then it's something I would be interested in.
I want to point out one thing. In a world where all of these animals are anthropomorphic, that they're all like humans or whatever, at one point there's the hippo, and he like pulls something out of like piece of food out of his mouth and then feeds it to an alligator looking thing that's supposed to be like a dog. But if all animals are like humans, is that a dog or is that alligator like a human? Is that like his? Is it his gimp? It totally looked like
there's a lot of kink going on here. If they go the kink route, I'm in. But other than that, no, I'm out. I'm so far out. I'm off the couch. I'm gonna go play PC. I'm in the other room playing PC. That's how far out I am.
Dang, that's way diff.
It is. I just don't want to be a bunny, man. Not like I respect.
Now we're talking gimps. I'm totally down. I'm like, this is actually hilarious. Like if they do that, I'm like, if we're going, if they go that route and they make it like kind of weird and lewd, then yes.
I don't think it's going to be lewd. I think it's going to be like honest.
That's what I think too. I think it's definitely going to be more
because if it's pervy, I'm in. But this is not pervy.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Another shadow drop, which was awesome to see. It's CloverPit. And this is a roguelite horror slot machine nightmare where you're trapped in a tiny cell with a single slot machine and an ATM, gambling to pay off your debt each round or literally drop through the floor to your doom. Tonally, it's very Balatro and Buckshot Roulette. It released today on Game Pass and was the second shadow drop of the show. What'd you guys think?
I already put 45 minutes into it. I played it immediately as soon as I got home after watching this because I love gambling. And I love slot machines. I think they're so much fun. And that's exactly what this game is. This is Balatro, but with slot machines. So you have a bunch of coins that you put in, and those coins you have to pay to get to the next level, to get to the next stage, and you're given tickets too with jackpots, and you use the ticket to buy like an upgrade that maybe changes one of the symbols to be more value of coins, or gives you better luck to give you a more chance of getting jackpots. And then and then each level you have to get more and more coins to get to the next level, and if you fail, you get killed, and and then you have to start over again. So that's the roguelike part of it. I'm having so much fun with it. Just in that 45 minutes, I had a blast with it. So
nice.
And shadow drop. So another great thing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect a slot machine game ever, to be honest, like something like this. So if they're making it, an enjoyable experience, like you're saying, I mean, it looked cool. Slot machines are so like in right now. Like that's been such a big thing in like the streaming world. People love watching people. Do just like online slot machines and stuff. So this is something that I feel like will tap into that market. And I mean, this wasn't on Game Pass though. Or
it
was
is.
It?
Yeah, it's Game Pass. Shadow drop day one.
Game Pass. Okay, got it. I wonder how much it is.
I think it was $9.99.
Oh, $9.99.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I remember seeing it. I think it's under $10.
That's a good price too. I mean, it seems like a lot of fun. It could be something that's worth also like handheld or something.
Yeah, it looks very handheld friendly. Yeah. Especially with those graphics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this looks exciting. Can't wait to get my hands on it. I mean, again, another like game that's clearly not $70, but we're getting 2 shadow drops in a show, and both of them look like they could be fun, even if they're not like, AAA games. Yeah. I'll take it. And so this was exciting and something welcome to see. All right, the last game that I wanted to highlight from the show and get your opinions on was Tides of Annihilation. Now, this is a single-player fantasy action-adventure inspired by Arthurian legend set in a shattered modern London, not Paris this time, and the otherworldly realm of Avalon. You play Gwendolyn commanding a spectral knight of the Round Table in a dual frontline combat system. No, I didn't write.
Yeah, that's a lot of buzzwords. Are there god rays? A lot of god rays involved?
Tons. Yeah. Oh my god. The god, like 2 gods are like so many rays. We saw a huge boss fight between 2 ladies that looked really kick-ass, and that essentially was the whole trailer. That's how confident they were in their product, and it looked really good. There's no confirmation whether this is going to be on Game Pass or not, and it doesn't release until next year. What did you guys think?
Yeah, day one on this one. I thought it looked awesome.
It looked like a Lord game. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, Lord is going to be eating this up.
Like action RPG, you get to swap between you can swap between characters that are going to be doing your fighting. Like that's, you're kind of like absorbing the different strengths of the enemy type. And then on top of that, I thought it was that like mirror action that they were having where it was kind of going from the ground into I just thought that was so cool. This looked awesome. The graphics looked absolutely stunning. I mean, what more can I say? This looked like this was the game of the show for me.
That's so interesting. This is probably going to be controversial, but something about it felt empty to me. I can't explain it. Like something about that battle felt like RC Cola versus Diet versus Coke. Like off brand. It felt, I don't know. I can't explain it. It didn't ring for me. Everything you said though, Dan, in the description of it is like right up my alley. Like I love Arthurian Legend. I love action RPGs, all of that. But I think I need to see a little bit more of it. That's not this fight before I can make a really good decision.
Other note, and I think for me, when I was watching it, I just thought, oh, this seems like it could become a bit of a button mash medley. That is where I feel like sometimes like those action RPGs can seriously become so button mashy, and I felt like I was getting a vibe of that a little bit. Even like there was some repeat attacks. I'm like, I don't know, but
I wonder if that's what I was feeling. That's possible.
Totally. I think that was what I picked up on pretty quickly. I'm like, okay, we're getting some similar attacks, but you know, that's just kind of the name of the game, and you just kind of. I still thought it looked so good, and then
yeah, I'm out on this one for sure, but I'm really happy that you like it. It looks like a game you would play, and I look forward to hearing you telling us all about it. Now, there were other games in the show, believe it or not, but they just weren't as noteworthy, so we didn't want to bring them up or talk about them on the pod. You guys can check those out for yourself if you want. But basically, that was everything we wanted to highlight. So just looking at the good stuff and taking it, the whole show into consideration, gentlemen, what do you grade the show?
Maulding, take it away. You do the honors.
We can cut that out. I would give this a solid B. One, the show was kind of a shadow drop. I think we just found out about it maybe even just a couple days ago, or maybe even yesterday before we saw it. 2 shadow drops, a few games that I definitely want to play. One game I'm playing already. Solid B. I think it was a good showing.
I agree. I think solid B for sure. It was a cool show. I thought Xbox, they kind of stole some thunder with that one. Like they showed up. Yes, a lot of these games are going to be dropping on PS5, yada yada. But hey, guess what? Xbox showed them off. So it's really cool. I thought it was a great show. There was way more to it than I was expecting. Like I was concerned for a second, and then hey, there's some games that really piqued my interest. Looking forward to the next round of games.
I gotta agree. I'm not in love with partner showcases, and I get why they exist because they really want to highlight all the partners and all the stuff that they coming to the console. But the last time we talked about the Sony partner conference, I was really, really negative on Sony, and rightfully so, because the games they were showing off just were not that good. This one is a different story. Okay, none of these were AAA, but the lineup was a little bit stronger if you have an open mind. I loved the shadow drops. There are 2 there, which that's crazy. We've never had a show where you've had 2 shadow drops. So that was amazing on itself. And the fact that I loved that one of the things they said, and this might be what confused you, Maulding, is that everything in the showcase was play anywhere. So it wasn't Game Pass; it was play anywhere.
The confusion, yeah.
Yes, and that took me a second too. And then I was like, oh, okay, so Microsoft is saying if you buy any of these games, you're getting it on PC as well. And so that also took the show up a notch for me. The 2 shadow drops, the play anywhere, and to games that actually looked like I would play them, even though they weren't AAA, made this a really standout conference for me. That being said, I really just love AAA games, and I love getting excited about something really big. And so I will go maybe B- with this one, C+, B-, not B-. I think it was probably as good as an indie showcase can get without me like freaking out and jeezing out over any of these games because they're not like AAAs.
Let me add one more thing about how to do a show, these reveals of things. I really feel like this is how you do it. I know developers want to get their faces in front of audiences because they're proud of the games that they're working on, but I don't think audiences, I'm speaking for myself, I don't really care about hearing from them. I want to see trailers. I want to see action. I want to see the game, and I want to see cut, quick, on to the next game. Give me what you got. Show me the next game. I'm not here for people waxing poetic about their time developing the game and all that marketing corporate speak that goes into it where it feels really scripted. That's not my favorite thing to watch. So
I think that does have a place in the industry. It's just not in a showcase. It's on the Xbox Wire blog or some other blog. You know, that if I'm super fired up about something like a furry looking to connect with that furry game, I can go check it out. Zootopia game or whatever. Then I can read more about my furry brethren.
Correct. Yeah.
Good point.
All right, well, speaking of huge AAA crazy expensive games, let's talk about Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Molding, you have a roundup for us. Tell us all about it.
Yes, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 dropped right after last week's show, so we didn't get a chance to do a review roundup, but things aren't looking so good for this next installment for the series, releasing just a single year after Black Ops 6. As of recording, it has an unfortunate 70 score on Metacritic with a dismal 1.7 or, quote, overwhelming dislike user score. But what do critics have to say? Here's just a few of their thoughts. Windows Central, probably not the most unbiased of opinions on a Microsoft-owned property, gives it a 90, writing that the game, quote, is nothing short of ambitious, expanding on the classic Call of Duty formula with more cooperative gameplay opportunities and just enough nostalgia to keep things interesting. Not all of the game's 7 pillars hold up due to light content at launch, but there's a potential for post-launch seasonal content to make up for shortcomings. Jamie Tugayev at DualShockers rates it a 55, adding, between the uninspired futuristic aesthetics and the nonsensical campaign, it's upsetting to see that this is what Call of Duty could come up with after the strongest release in over a decade. All the fun zombies is not enough to spare Black Ops 7 from being the worst game in the franchise. And Eric Kane, not Paul Tassi at Forbes, didn't give a rating, but in his headline writes that this is the worst Call of Duty campaign ever and says, quote, overall, the campaign is a massive letdown. It still manages to include some fun boss fights and cool level design in an undoubtedly pretty package. It's important to note that the campaign is only available to play co-op and is online only. So, boys, what do you think? Do these reviews surprise you at all? Will you be giving this one a try, or will you be disappointing Milo Villamentalia, or whatever his name is, and sitting this one out?
Dude, Milo better have gotten paid well, because he just crashed a franchise, and he'll be held responsible. My God, what are they thinking when I heard that co-op online only BS for the single player?
Weird. And they surprised us with that. They didn't mention that one before.
Yeah, they never talked about it. Yep.
Like, I think there really is something going on in the industry right now where there is a belief that if you add co-op, you can basically put out whatever type of game you want, and it can be so low quality, and they just expect players to be like, we're playing together, we're having such a good time together, no worries. Like,
that's me.
I know.
Games, that's totally what you say.
We're not supposed to.
I know. No. There are times where you're supposed to spot on. There are times where I'm playing a co-op game and I'm like, yeah, we're having a great time, and I'm like, you know what? This really is a terrible game. It's just my friends. I'm really happy hanging out with my friends. This game is trash, but we're hanging out having a good time. And then there are times where it's a co-op game where I'm like, okay, this is actually a legit good co-op game.
Yeah.
So no, you're spot on.
But I think that is truly that's been happening pretty consistently with different games. I think that should not be co-op. Like, if you're playing a single player game, in my opinion, there's such a time and a place for co-op, but this is a single player. We need offline. We need to be able to. I know the big thing was pausing the campaign. People were freaking out. They're getting kicked, and they'd have to start all the way over.
Okay, I think people are being vaginas here, because as someone who loves co-op games and plays them 24/7 all the time, you can never pause in an online game. You can never pause in a co-op game. So go fuck yourself. Like, what are you crying about? Get the sand out of your vagina, Jesus.
I think everyone's still just stunned that it's co-op only, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be able to like drink my Mountain Dew and shoot some this is, I think it was just such a stunner. Like, what a I can't agree with this sort of decision making, and no, this game a total swerve for me. I won't even give the multiplayer a shot.
Yeesh. That bad. Like, not even the multiplayer?
No.
Because I thought you said that you liked the multiplayer because it connected to Warzone and their weapons.
Well, I totally do agree with that, because there is a connection with Warzone, but I feel like we're just getting so far removed from what made CoD 2019 so good. And that multiplayer was stunning, so good, so addictive. This is just no, we're getting, and I don't want to feed that beast either. It's like this game clearly was slop, and I can't buy into it.
So I did play a little bit of the multiplayer when it released last weekend, and I think I put maybe an hour into it. There seems to be a huge emphasis in movement. Like, you can now jump against a wall and like jump off the wall to move around. And it felt clunky. It did not feel like even the last iteration of it. So I actually, because I'm downgrading my Game Pass to just the $9.99, I deleted it off my console, which it's like 160 meg or gigs. Like, it's a huge, like, I freed up almost half my memory on my machine just by deleting Call of Duty from it. So yeah, I'm definitely out on Call of Duty this way.
Huh. Well, because I'm a co-op sucker, I'm going to jump into that campaign.
Oh my God.
And I am going to try it out, and I'll report back. I agree. I liked the online a little bit better last time, but so I'm waiting to get, with these reviews. I'll jump in maybe over the holidays, but I'm not jumping in right away.
What you got to do with that campaign is you got to be able to play it solo, maybe with bots as your companions, and have a jump in, jump out version where a buddy can come in and play with you instead, or even be able to play it solo and have a co-op version of that same thing. Dan and I, one of my favorite gaming memories is Dan and I actually playing co-op Call of Duty, where I may or may not have shot him in the back of the head. It's one of my favorite quotes from us playing. And so that's a good memory, but we won't be having any good memories from this game.
A good memory for you. I got shot in the head, so I don't remember shit.
You did. Yeah, you did.
Well, speaking of big games and the end of the year, we've got the Game Awards coming up, and nominations were released this week. Malding, why don't you tell us all about it?
Yeah, it's me again. The Game Awards unveiled their nominations on Monday, and while there aren't really too many surprises, it does go to show that 2025 has been a banger of a year for video games, and we gamers have been eating well. The show is scheduled to stream live on December 11th, and you can check out the full list of nominees on their YouTube page. But we here at Good Playing With You will be giving our own version of our Game Awards coming next month. So while we won't be going too much into depth on our thoughts here, we think our dear listeners and viewers may be interested in a few of the categories. So first we have Game of the Year nominations, and they include Claire Obscura, Expedition 33, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and a slew of sequels, Death Stranding 2, Hades 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong, which is technically Hollow Knight 2. So any thoughts? I mean, I know we'll be talking about our own thoughts later. Any thoughts on those? Any snubs? What do you think?
I want to note a quick take from you, Malding, because I know you had a lot of Claire time under your belt.
Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of Claire slander online as of late.
Interesting. It's probably just because it's one of those things where a game gets too popular and people are like, nah, I don't like that game. That game's too popular. Joystick awards were yesterday, and every single award that Claire Obscura was up for, it won. So it might be one of those things where people just think it's overrated at this point, but it's not overrated. Play the game. It's super fun.
Yeah. Well, actually, and I talk about slander. Death Stranding 2, honestly, wasn't that good. I gotta just say.
Whoa, you're a Death Stranding fan.
I know. The second one was did not
Kojima was your boy.
I know. It did not. DS2 did not hit.
Oh, that's too bad.
The first one was just, I thought, way better.
Is it because the first one was kind of groundbreaking
Maybe.
in the fact that it was so weird, and then now you're just playing the same thing kind of?
There's a lot. They did a lot of formula changes for the second one, and people
Okay.
say that was on purpose, but I'm like, the formula changes were not good. It was much more stealth action, and it just, I don't know. It didn't resonate at all. I don't know if it was Game of the Year worthy, to be honest. I'm trying to think of others.
Wow. Interesting.
What do you think should be some snubs? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Gosh, I mean, I think they pretty much, I think they nailed it. I don't know that there are any snubs for a Game of the Year, at least in this category, for sure.
I agree. While it might not be my Game of the Year, Claire Obscura 33 is clearly going to walk away with it, and I totally respect that. I did play it about halfway through, and then I had to have Malding tell me the actual story, because the story was good, and I wanted to know how it ended, so I just had him tell me about it. Turn-based RPGs aren't my thing, but I played enough to respect it. So if it walks away with everything, which I'm expecting it to, I'm not going to be bitter at all, because I think I love a brand new, bold sort of entry. It wasn't a sequel. It was, a first one. And
brand new IP.
Yes, brand new IP. Thank you is the word I was looking for as I was stumbling around. And it came out of the gate strong. It didn't copy anything. It wasn't like a Soulsborne or something like that. It did something unique and made turn-based RPGs fun again.
Yeah, that's
great. Next up, best performance includes my future boyfriend, Ben Starr, Charlie Cox, and Jennifer English, all of them from Expedition 33, Erika Ishii from Ghosts of Yotei, Konatsu Kato from Silent Hill F, and Troy Baker from Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Any thoughts on those?
I'm impressed with you nailing those names, for one thing, Malding. But I actually think
I was probably completely wrong.
I actually think Troy Baker in Indiana Jones could win. He had a convincing Harrison Ford voice. I couldn't believe how well he did that. That was good.
Great point. His voice was spot on.
Freaking good.
I agree, and I think all of the, would you say the three names from, was it?
Yeah, there are three from Claire Obscura. Yeah,
that they could split the vote for Claire Obscura, and that's a one time. I don't think it's a runaway for Claire Obscura, and I think you're right that Indiana Jones, the way he did it, I was so worried it was going to be cliche and cringe, and it wasn't. It was so natural and so good, and I was like, wow, this really works.
I absolutely hated that game, but you cannot deny that his voice was spot on.
Yeah.
And then Ghost of Yotei, if it's anything, I just played Ghosts of Tsushima. I got a little burnt out after doing the first island, but super fun game. And if it's anything like Ghosts of Tsushima was, it takes a lot of work to do that character, to hold that game together. So I really want to know what her work was like. So I'm kind of curious about that one.
I was going to say, I loved Silent Hill F, so I was excited to see that it was nominated on there. I did listen to it in Japanese as I was playing through the first time, and then the second time I listened to it in English. I can't say for sure that they deserve to win, because I don't know exactly what they were saying, so that's my only problem. But as a fan of the game, I'd love to see it at least win something, if not that.
I think one of the two things, actually, before we go to the next category, one of the huge snubs I think here is that the French voice actors for Claire Obscura didn't get any acknowledgement here, where they, I know, put some beautiful performances in. And then the second thing is, I actually think that that this best performance category should be divided up by gender. I think there should be best performance male and best performance female, because I think a lot of the female actresses might get pushed to the side for some of the male ones. If I had to bet, Charlie Cox and Ben Starr would probably overshadow in the votes over Jennifer English, but Jennifer English did a fantastic job too. I'd like to see them divided up into male and female, but that's just me.
I think maybe it was together because there weren't as many stars back in the day, and that sort of thing. Like, the actors are being a little bit more well known now, and as it grows and we learn more about these artists. So
I think that's a good point. Yeah, I think it's time. And finally, best debut indie game includes Blueprints, Expedition 33, Despelete, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Dispatch, and Megabonk. Now, I'm including this category because the developer for Megabonk actually came out this week and said, hey, I'm actually not a debut indie game developer, so please take my name. He didn't say please take my name off the list, but he was like, take my name off the list. Like, this isn't this category shouldn't be one that I'm in, which I give huge credit for. Like, I don't feel like a lot of people would do that. So Megabonk is actually now off the list because he had his game removed.
Oh, they actually removed it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I saw
Jeff
that.
Keighley responded being like, yeah, I talked to him and yeah, we're going to remove it. Like, mad respect.
Wow. That's great. Well, I mean, I think this one's going to be easy. Claire win.
Yeah.
But I don't know. People are talking about that Dispatch game like it's the freaking second coming. So I'm wondering.
I agree. I know even our buddy Ross mentioned it in the comments, so I've been checking it out, and it does look interesting. I think there could be some recency bias that would help get it some votes, but I think Claire is going to run away with this one as well as online. I've been reading about Dispatch, and people in the LGBT community do not like this game for the simple reason that before it came out, the producers were talking about storylines that were going to be included here, and they tweeted to them, and some gay people tweeted to them and said, hey, will there be any gay stories, any inclusion here for our community, any gay romance options? We'd love to, see something. And they, instead of saying anything, they just said there was some sort of quote about like, wait and see and check it out. We're doing all this stuff. And then when the game came out, there was absolutely nothing. And so they felt very like queer baiting or gay baiting, and that they were led to believe that there might be something of inclusion. And there was no inclusion whatsoever. And Reddit had a meltdown, and rightfully so, over this guy's quote on Twitter that he wrote about the game. So that one, I think, leaves a bad taste in some people's mouths just by the way it was promoted.
How do you guys feel about that?
Not every game needs to have gay stuff in it. I don't need it in every game.
I agree, but at the same time, don't pretend it is and don't tease it is to sell.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. That is a weird quote. I have not heard this. This is crazy.
There's some weird stuff going on here. Yeah, there was another Dispatch story because Dispatch is not on Xbox, and they're like, hey, why isn't it on Xbox? And the developers were like, it's expensive to put that out, and it's not worth it to us to put it out on Xbox because the install base isn't there for us. And they had to make a decision out of money, like where to do it. And so they chose PlayStation instead of Xbox. So
wow, but they did sell 2 million copies like right out of the gate. So maybe they're rethinking that. That should give them enough money to hopefully put it out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, check out the Game Awards coming up next month. And then, like I said, good playing with you. We'll have our own next month as well.
Yes, can't wait to talk about all the great games that we've played this year. But then I also want to talk about the great games we're going to play in the future, potentially on the Steam Cube.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. Linus Tech Tips claims Valve has had a negative reaction to $500 Steam machine price point. This is from Vice's Brent Cope. The YouTuber made the revelation in a recent podcast. In the clip, he described the energy in the room shifting when he mentioned the Steam machine being priced similar to a PS5, which retails for $499. This is in quotes. I said to Valve, I'm disappointed the Steam machine isn't going to follow a console pricing model because I feel that would be a more meaningful product. Valve then asked me, well, what do you mean by console pricing? And I said $500. Nobody said anything, but the energy in the room wasn't great. So with that morsel, what is our new price evaluation? Is this making you nervous for this future Valve system?
I'm sticking with what I thought. $799 is the minimum that this thing is going to be. Anyone, I saw this stuff all over this week on Twitter too. Anyone who thinks this thing is going to be a console level price, I think is smoking something.
But that's not smart for them because this thing's about as powerful as a PS5. So it should be priced similarly, especially if they want to be competitive in this market, because they are coming into the living room where we console gamers live. And if you want our attention, you need to be very affordable, because right now things ain't looking so affordable in our living rooms these days. And if you're just going to be expensive like everybody else, who fucking needs you? So my thing is, they need to wake up and smell the coffee. Look, they're making 30% or more on these sales of the software. That's really where their revenue should come from. They should eat it on this console.
Couldn't agree more with that. I'm totally shocked hearing these little bits. And yes, the internet was aflame with back and forth on this. And man, when thinking about this console coming out for $800, and I think a really good point that you made last week, Dan, was the anti-cheat situation. You're not going to be able to play multiplayer games initially off this thing. There's still going to be such a wait. And this thing coming out 800, it's going to be DOA. Yes.
Yeah.
That is DOA. It really, I think that could just be the worst thing for this thing. And truly, it has to be, I think it has to be $500 or under. Otherwise it's pretty toast.
I agree.
And I don't
the
think
internet, the internet reports do have me a little bit shook, because I've been reading all of that all week about people are going to be shocked. Oh, it's going to be expensive. I've been reading that all week. So I'm starting to get a little nervous for Valve, because I wanted to champion them as like an open platform, but now I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
I mean, I think it could even go. I mean, Malding, I'm hoping you're right at this point with that $7.99, but I'm thinking it could be like $1,000. Like, I really think this could be a more, like, even more expensive than where we were even at. And I was thinking it was going to be seriously like $400. I thought it was going to be like the freaking Steam Deck. I thought it was gonna be like the Steam Deck price.
I think people are thinking like wishful thinking consumers instead of corporate stooges. And
you're right. Yes, they are. Look, I'm just dying to find out the price, and I don't care. I just need to know. I wish they would tell us sooner rather than later, but it doesn't seem any indication that they'll be saying anything anytime soon. And if it is priced super high, they are going to go next to Microsoft on my naughty list, my shit list for the year, because I'm already banning Game Pass and saying cancel Game Pass. I don't want to have to turn around and say cancel the Steam Cube thing as well.
When are they going to announce the price, you think?
New Year, my guess. Early New Year.
After Christmas, I would say.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's my guess.
That's too friggin' long. I was hoping you were going to say like December 1st.
No, I don't think so.
Shit. Okay, well, that sucks. I think we're in for a kind of a negative surprise on that one. And Linus Tech Tips, he really is like a reliable source. So if he's saying this, that to me is a source of truth. This thing is going to be.
It's gossip, though. I mean, not that we turn a, we don't cover that on occasion, but we'll see. I mean, he maybe could have misread the room. I don't know.
Totally possible. Also,
yeah. Well, speaking of suspect and potential bad deals, Malding, you had a story about GameStop's latest promotion.
Oh yeah, this story is crazy. Well, it's not crazy, but I think it's really funny, and I definitely want to get Lord's take on it. So this is coming from Ethan Getch at Kotaku. GameStop employees are freaking out about Trade Anything Day. Earlier this week, GameStop announced a new trade-in stunt engineered to go viral. Trade Anything Day will let customers come in and hand over almost anything in exchange for store credit. GameStop's official announcement says people can bring in their junk and trade it in December 6th for credit towards games and other purchases, as long as it doesn't violate a long list of exceptions. Those include hazardous materials, things that pose health risks, and MetaQuest VR headsets for some reason. But that's not the whole story.
Damn.
Yeah, I know, Dan, you're out. A flyer store employees received goes into more detail and explains exactly how Trade Anything Day is supposed to work. Customers can only trade in one nonsense item that day. They only get $5 store credit no matter what it is. And at the very end, employees will be tasked with taking all of the qualifying items to local approved donation drop-off points. Presumably, everything else will be thrown out. GameStop workers are already crashing out. Quote, "God help us," reads one thread on GameStop subreddit. "I'm not prepared for the bring anything to trade day. I just know I'm going to have to handle some nasty shit. And not only that, we're probably going to have to reject some of the things because they're a biological hazard." I'm going to have so many customers asking, how come you can't take it in? Because we can't, bro. So, boys, what do you think? Is this a fun promotional idea for a brand that's not ready to die? Or is this a terrible joke to play on just above minimum wage employees and millions of gamers hoping to get rid of their junk?
It's a genius joke to play on their poor minimum wage workers. Let's just say that, because man, this thing went viral. My wife Audrey's friend texted her and said, "Give this to Matt," and it was this story. And I'm like, so I must really be like the target. I'm ready to find some slimy biological shit I have back here and trade it in, because this is I mean, man, this thing really got around, and having been a former GameStop employee and already seen the gross shit that some people try to trade in and scratch discs that have maple syrup covered on them, I can this is gonna bring out the crackheads. Like, they're gonna be ready to trade in some wild stuff. And to be honest, it just seems a little like not wasteful, but it seems like they're kind of doing it at an expense of just like people like throwing away their stuff. I don't know. It just seems weird. Like, they're going to trash a lot of this stuff, and donate it, I guess. But it just seems that I didn't realize that was what they were going to do with all the stuff they get. But yeah, cool viral thing. I like when we hear these types of things, because it just means like these companies at least are thinking up some fun ways to like get people out of their house.
I agree with that, although they were not very clear that the max and the only thing you're going to get is $5 store credit. And that's where I think it's a little duplicitous, because they make it seem like, oh, people can trade in like a MacBook or something like that, but not if you're going to give me $5 store credit. Like, no one benefits from $5 store credit here, because you're not making as much revenue and you overcharge me. So neither one of us are happy here. I think this is a great, like you said, like a genius PR stunt, but in all actuality, that's all it is.
Yeah, I feel so bad for these workers. That's my main thing, is they're going to be inundated with just the dregs of society trying to give them absolute shit. And one of those dregs is going to be this guy, because I've been trying to get rid of this Connect Adventures game that they will not take, and that baby's going right in there. So they're getting a fresh Connect Adventures game that is probably absolutely unplayable everywhere else, and I'll get my $5 credit.
Good damn idea, though, is hitting up Goodwill on December 7th or 8th.
Good call. Yeah,
you are thinking that's really where it's at. That's good call.
That's kind of the play, I feel like.
Well, my hope is here, and I don't know if this is the way they're going to do it. My sincere hope is that they're just trying to give away $5 coupons, and you can walk in there with a dirty sock, and they can say, "Great, we don't want it. You can go ahead and take that home and wash it. And here's $5 coupon. Please leave me alone." And that they don't have to actually take all of these items. That's my hope.
Yeah. Like, the genius idea is just getting people into the store.
Yes.
That is the hard part, is getting, like, when you can buy everything digitally, getting people into the store is the hard part. And then once they're in there, hey, maybe there's this Funko Pop that they see that they're going to want, and they'll purchase that with their $5.
All right, I have one more story I want to get your opinion on real quickly, because this one just came out yesterday, and this is a story about Borderlands 4, which I know has a little controversial around here, but it was they made headlines yesterday because of their DLC. So this is kind of interesting. They essentially just dropped a huge patch yesterday, and their first Bounty Pack 1, How Rush Saved Mercenary Day, completely free for everyone. Even though it was originally part of the Bounty Pack DLC bundle, the studio basically admitted that they spent so much time fixing the bugs after launch that they couldn't finish the Christmas DLC the way they had originally planned. So instead of charging for a smaller than promised pack, they're giving this one away and shifting things around. Fans who bought the DLC pass will now get a brand new Bounty Pack 5, which never existed before. So they just kind of made that one up. And that's what they're going to get for the people who bought the season pass. And it'll be added to the bundle late next year. Players are split on it, though. Some are cool with the move. One Reddit user said, honestly, free DLC is the right call. Fix the game first. Others are a little salty. Quote, We paid for a DLC pass, and now Gearbox admits they couldn't even finish the DLC. So what do you guys think? Is this a one-time holiday apology, or is this a sign that the whole Borderlands 4 roadmap is on shaky ground?
Didn't they announce this roadmap like 6 months ago? Like, they aren't done with that. Like, you would have thought that stuff, if you're announcing that roadmap so long ago, man, I would have thought you've been locked and loaded. I don't know. There's some red flags. It's already been on sale for 20% off. Dan, you QA'd their bugs.
Yeah,
but
I did.
That's why Dan's bugs like had them working OT over there. Forget the GameStop employees.
They were told
bugs. So there's a lot of overtime involved.
Yeah, they were told.
It's a little crazy. I think this game is definitely, I think the whole game as a whole is a bit on shaky ground right now. So,
I mean, shaky ground is giving it a lot of credit. This game made a week or 2 weeks of attention, and now it's completely out of our zeitgeist. I don't think it got any Game Awards nominations. There's nothing there for it. This game is just out of culture already, and I'm glad they're doing a make good for people. But other than that, I deleted it from my console, so it's gone from me. I'm never going to play it again, probably. So it's out.
So free DLC and bug fixes aren't enough to bring you back in at all?
No. I don't even. The game isn't even fun enough for whatever this free DLC is. So
I kind of agree. I kind of agree. Look, after I've had some time to sit on this one, I was so pumped for this, and I'm still a fan, but they just haven't changed the formula enough. And I'm salty about the bugs I experienced when I played it, but they haven't changed the formula enough. And at first, I think honestly, guys, my real problem with it is the open world. And I thought that was such an awesome idea and such a nice change for the series. But what I didn't realize is that by playing the game, all the other versions, when you go into these small biomes, you're constantly getting new visuals and new stuff and a new area. And when you've got this whole game in the open world, you're crisscrossing your path where you've already been before. And their areas are super ugly. It's poorly designed. It's not very well laid out. It's not very original. And they didn't add enough to the game to make it that interesting for me. So I can clearly see why it's not nominated for awards. But I am excited enough that I will jump in and play this Christmas stuff during the holiday. But yeah, not my favorite Borderlands by a mile.
Man,
you're a glutton for punishment.
Malding,
it's a co-op game. I'm happy.
Yeah, get a friend in there.
Yeah,
it's just crazy when games really do stop being talked about online so quick. You can really gauge what the popularity level of a game is. I haven't seen a single bit of Borderlands anywhere. Reddit, Twitter. It's like when those games are offline like that, something is wrong.
I agree. Well, that pretty much wraps up everything we've got for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on the podcast, please share with like 200 friends. And on behalf of Matthew Moulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thank you for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good play with you.